Hello, newcomers. Welcome to some procedural and vastly growing popularity online for what is effectively the World Super Touring Championship from Bathurst. Early for once, we might have to explain why shortly. And it's some surprises in the top 10, especially from our newcomers. Row 2, bright blue Volvo. Kenny Ekstrom, a Volvo favourite, behind Jason Thompson and Sophia Schneider, who have been tipped to do well this year. The current championship leaders are the Renault duo, and they are mingling amongst the top 10 as well. Adrian Michael Rees here, hello, and alongside me, Michael Swinnerton, from above the pit lane in one of those windows there. How are we?
Yeah, good. Just about worked off the jet lag from coming from the opposite side of the planet.
And only a fortnight after Interlagos, what's in store when we get into Hell Corner. The two front-wheel drive cars on the third row just take a dive into each other. That might not look good by the end of the race. Sabine Wittmann and Jamie Webber's fallen back, so the locals won't be happy with that at all. Schneider away like a scalded cat from Thompson. Nicky Lammer's up to third.
Yeah, the two cars in front there just did a really good job of blocking the two rear-wheel drive cars from preventing them from getting a good start, which is what's caused Whitman and Webber to be in the back end of the top 10. Suarez giving it a good run. Had a good run up the straight there.
Fairly decent start from everyone, all things considered. Not too much of a traffic jam through the cutting. Early days yet, though, for that.
Yeah, give it
concrete
time.
tunnel. The concrete tunnel still goes on until the top of the hill. So these guys need to behave themselves. Ha ha. There's Ayalo. Fairly sensible start, but now being a fairly sensible move there. Wittmann starting to fall back. Where is Ayalo going? Around the outside of Suarez.
Yeah, both Ingram and Aiello went round the outside of the two cars there. Aiello just followed Ingram through. He just managed to carry a lot more momentum over the top of the mountain there. He's already on the back of Lammers, looking at 4th place. Suarez has managed to hold him off for now. Aiello's back to 9th. See how long that one lasts, given how dominating Renault were in the last round.
Aiello somehow back to 9th then. Or was it a Gasho? There's the two Fords. Ford obviously got a presence in Australia, but not normally with this vehicle. With good reason. There's Gasho. Okay, so it was Aiello around the outside, but somehow Suarez managed to get back ahead despite the miracle moves up the hill. Wittmann and Webber back to their old tricks, even though it's the first lap, side-o by side-o. Lap 1 complete. Suarez
still holding
fend off the battle there.
Yeah, so I mean, we know the Golf is good in a straight line, but then we also know the Golf isn't particularly hot on its brakes. So given there's a few heavy braking zones around this track, it wouldn't surprise me if these cars behind dive bomb him successfully or trip over each other in trying to do said dive bomb.
Fairly decent so far. There's no what we expected to happen though, because Renault managed to sort of totally dominate proceedings, didn't they, in Interlagos. That's not happening just yet, but you can see from the behaviour of both of the cars that they have some potential that is yet to be allowed to be unleashed with all the cars in front. Ingram there.
Yeah, it looks like the Renaults are managing to carry more speed through certain corners than other cars, which is allowing them to get huge runs, or at least a lot of momentum. Whether they can do anything with that momentum, given the narrow nature of this circuit, remains to be seen. But it wouldn't surprise me if we see these Renaults come through the order, because there's Gasho already.
And that's
going
three
around the
places.
outside again.
But there's Wittmann with the rear-wheel drive power. But that Renault has got something that was lacking in qualifying, perhaps.
Yeah.
Once again. Darlow and Palou. And there's Kubica.
Comes to a dead stop through the dipper, though, allowed the Ford to get through, and there's Kubica in the BMW doing it well for his first outing around this track.
And there's a very respectable start for this race. He wasn't really making any headway as one of the top privateers at Interlagos. Doing well, did very well in the Euros for the erstwhile works effort BMW.
Meanwhile, there goes Aiello, just out-dragged a BMW on the back of Suarez. Just kisses the bumper ever so slightly, just let him know he's there.
I don't think Suarez would be very happy with that. That almost sort of unstable, that left it very unstable. Right up the back of the bumper.
Ooh.
Again into Murray's corner.
That was
Aiello
a dive bomb, and he's made it stick.
Okay, so lap 2. Still early days, but I think these Renaults left it all for the race, perhaps.
Yeah, they're proving that they can get through the traffic, so we might be looking at a repeat performance from these Megans. Look at that, he's already challenging Lammers and going past Lammers like it's nothing.
And nearly a second and a half on Ingram's fastest lap so far, but obviously that was just the second lap of the race. I wonder if Aiello's going to eclipse that by the time the end of this one.
Wouldn't
So
surprise me.
Volvo, third and fourth. Good day for them. Now Ingram no longer under the guise of our erstwhile co-commentator here, but still his manager. This is him quite effectively playing blocker for Ekstrom further ahead, perhaps.
For the time being, for sure. I'm sure Ingram is going to not be happy to see his rearview mirror filled with Renault once again, like it was in Interlagos, because he did seem to spend most of his time fending off a Megane. Though they've all Ekstrom with a bit of a wiggle there. They're all slowly catching up on Thompson, who is also catching up on Schneider. So this is going to be a 5-car battle for the lead eventually.
Not enough of a position to get an overtaking. That the dipper. We've been cheering that some of the drivers could potentially say that the best place to overtake would be.
Hey!
Whoa! What did we miss there then? Aiello.
Well, let's go back and have a look.
But we saw halfway down Conrod Straight. There's the Renault Power.
Gets a run and dear.
Now then. Ingram is going to be stuck there. At least it's not too badly damp. Okay, this is brave because everyone's decided to slow down. Obviously, there's
put the yellow flag
in
out
play.
for that. So yeah, just let everyone go past.
Part of there's Dumas DHL car we haven't seen in a while either, and there's Wickens. Oh, didn't want to bash the wall either. So Schneider still leads. I'm surprised. Well, very good work from the rest of the alumni of Super Touring to just keep it sensible and not force a safety car. But there is now a giant gap behind Aiello, who, I mean, it looks as if it's dead on that he's going to be leading the race with laps to spare, as he's gone around the outside of Ekstrom into Crawley Bend. And there's also the first two in front of him, and still looks threatening to be going on. He's on a mission. Misguided perhaps earlier. Thankfully he didn't make the move through here. That would have been, I mean, if Ingram's the victim there, at least there was a bit of space to avoid it. If that was the cut-in, we've seen it many times before when there has been a traffic jam. But yeah, this is dead. This is, like you've said it before, it's a case of when rather than if that he's going to be leading this race. Sophia Schneider, though, you might want to have a say in that.
Well, it looks like Schneider's managed to get away. Aiello, look
inside.
at that!
That was, I mean, that's not the place you normally see him move. Okay, maybe not even. Okay, I thought Thompson was going to get that back then somehow.
He had a go. I think the back end just the back end lost grip on him, so he couldn't fully make the move stick to get back in front of Aiello. But Aiello with a very opportunistic dive going into the dipper there made it stick. And now he's going to be chasing down Schneider for the lead.
That thing has got some power then. But the gap is definitely there. The move might not be on this lap. And then in the space of, well, we've seen Aiello go up to second. We've also seen Gasho go from 8th to 5th. And there's a gap already. So, yeah.
He's got himself around the rolling roadblock that is Sergio Suarez, despite his best efforts in that Golf.
So obviously this was definitely on the cards then, but I think there's going to be a sting in the tail somewhere along the line. The sooner the better, please, because if that was meant to be, well, if the move was on, then fair enough, but if it wasn't on, there's going to be repercussions. Nothing's come through the system just yet. No doubt Volvo will want a word with the officials about that, because that was one of their best efforts. Now being turned sour because there's only one Volvo now in the top 5.
Now, granted, that Volvo is looking for a podium, but what we missed was Aiello's already taken the lead.
Absolutely so.
And here is the battle for third. Thompson has it. Ekstrom wants it. Not
and
quite
I think
that time.
Gasho, despite the massive gap there, Gasho's probably going to get that at some point as we encroach the halfway mark. So Ingram still going. You can see him at the back of the pack about to get into well, I'd like to think the fight is still on in that car if he's still maintaining a decent level of speed there. Might want to find out how he is after the race, of course, Swinny.
Oh, absolutely.
But it looks as if that car, despite us seeing it hit the wall a couple of times, is in fine fettle. Just needs to be in a better position. Well, should never have been in a bad position in the first place. And okay. Whatever happens after this, it just says cars 20 and cars 11 under investigation. Car 11 is Aiello.
Yeah. Message there from the stewards, so we know that move is going to be looked at after the race or after the round.
And given the effort, that's going to be some level of contention, because obviously the car is good. The car might be too good, but it's still leading. And it was very much on the cards, especially if Gasho is trying to close down on these two as well. There's the train further back. There's Webber on Suarez.
Webber looks like he might have a bit of a run on the Golf here. Now, as I've said before, the Golf is not the best on its brakes, meanwhile the BMW is one of the best. There he goes, down the inside. He's going to give Suarez room. Very good racing there, Suarez. They're still too wide. Suarez has the position currently, but Webber is going to be on the preferred line going into Murray's. Send it down the inside again. There he is, on the curb. I think he's got that stuck. There we go.
Which also means is Wittmann going to get that position as well. Alpha's form surprisingly poor then. This is the best positioned Alpha in the race so far. Fisichella in the mid-pack. The incident hasn't helped these guys, because they should really be a bit closer to the guys in the top 5. I wonder if they're going to have a word about that as well.
I mean, they can have all the words they like. They were just a victim of circumstance and the yellow flag there, unfortunately. But yeah, Alfa Romeo do seem to be a bit swingy. They have times where they are by far and away the best car, and their drivers prove it. And then they have times where as I've said before, it seems like the Alfa Romeo just struggles with traffic. Once it's in clean air, it's off and away. But dealing with other cars around it tends to be the problem. So if they don't get what they need out of qualifying, it really does put a bit of a dampener on their weekend.
All in all, the formula still works. It's just these particular, not the sort of discrepancies. I mean, it's good that Renault were doing well after a poor season 3, but then it doesn't help when there's incidents like that.
Yes, I mean, as noted, there's a reason why they are cars 11 and 12 after all, because the car numbers are based upon your championship position.
And apart from Toyota, who, well, they were worse off than Renault, given that they bailed out and went to Japan. I wonder if they would have been in a position to attack like Ekstrom and Ingram were had they been allowed to run the Clio. We'll never know.
You mean the Corolla, but yes, I see what you're saying.
Corolla. He's not awake still, jet lag. He's
Toyota
looking at
Clio,
a Renault
that's an
and
interesting
thinks
concept.
something beginning with C, and I'm looking at a Renault. What context? But anyway, there's Ekstrom. Still a very good outing for first timers to the championship, taking over the Toyota slot with aplomb.
Yes. Given that this is only his third race in the World Series, given that he's done the first 2 at Interlagos, he's doing very well here, looking at getting a podium.
But we did see Gasho is in shot now.
Yes, Gasho is there, Gasho is catching. This is going to be a 4-car grouping for second place. And it will be a case of, can Gasho work his way through the traffic, or will someone else prevail? Because we've seen Schneider has got the stability to hold speed over the top of the mountain, allowing her to get a little bit of a gap between her and Thompson behind her. But I don't know if that's going to be enough once the Renault turns up. And Ekstrom just needs to do all he can just to try and maintain and not end up being the big loser out of all this.
And even then, 5th place, not much of a loser, really.
Absolutely, given the rookie cross on the back of his car there.
And Gasho is definitely in this train right now. Forest Elbow coming up.
If Thompson's smart, he can get a good run out of this corner and have a momentum on the BMW in front. Don't know if he's quite done that though.
If momentum were a thing, this would be Honda's year. They should be going for it, and obviously this would be good for the win. Renault, however, have stolen a march there. The move isn't on, but it's there or thereabouts.
He's having a look just to unsettle the car in front. Though he's got to be careful, he's opened the door for Ekstrom.
Well, there
goes the Volvo.
And into 3rd again. Gasho being sensible, I would have thought the power of that car would have got him further up by now, given Aiello's form, and obviously Aiello is now gone. It would take some miracle or a steward's decision to change that result, but we still wait with bated breath on that. Nothing has changed from under investigation. I don't see that one being as clean cut as we assume.
No, I mean the stewards have got access to more camera angles than we do, so they'll be able to. I think this is why they're going to look at it after the round, because then they can make a much more informed opinion and take their time over it as well, and look at every angle on every car and see who was doing what specifically. Meanwhile, Gasho has caught Thompson, so Thompson, having just lost out 3rd place to Ekstrom, has now got a Renault all over the back of him for the 2nd time this race.
The Renault with the straight line speed, has it got the power over the hill to get ground, get position on the Honda in front? Looks like it is.
Around the outside, Thompson tapped the brakes, forced Gasho to the outside. Doesn't quite have the momentum to keep it stick though.
But the Renault did hit the wall on the outside Was that in avoidance of Thompson playing brake check
I
there?
think so. I think Gasho was expecting to lift, wasn't expecting to see brake lights on the Honda in front of him. Into the
We saw
dipper.
Aiello with a miracle move a few laps ago on that Honda at the S's before the dipper. I wonder if that's going to happen next time around. Cloud cover, no rain to be worried about. There's just this psychological contrast, psychological greyness that we're seeing around the cameras right now. The track is definitely dry for the remainder of the race. Still a train further back.
Yeah, Whitman can't find a way around the Gulf. You can see that she's faster in places, but she's just having to tap on the brakes just to make sure she doesn't go into the back of the car in front, because she's got nowhere to go otherwise.
Nicky Lammers with a sensible grid position and a good start, but has fallen back somewhat compared to his teammate.
Whitman, is she going to have a look down the inside of the chase? Send it!
Bit of tapping on Suarez, just like Webber was. I wonder if he's going to keep that sensible and let that one slide so that Suarez has still got the advantage and get the move done properly. Thank you. Mind you, Lammers with a bit of a move as well. And the crocodile still crawls around. Where is it? There's Fisichella. I was wondering where he actually was, actually. And Ingram starting to...
well, he's got himself back in the points, which is the important bit, so it's not a complete loss.
I mean, the anger, I think that's obviously going to help him get into the... And he has got into the points. It's just more of them, please, and
yeah,
make Volvo's day look even better. 2.5 to go.
Especially as it stands right now, Volvo are 4th in the Constructors' title fight, with their mixed bag of results from Interlagos, trailing Renault by a good 66 points, if I've done my maths correctly. So whilst Renault might be a bit unreachable in the Constructors, Honda and BMW are definitely within more of a striking distance.
And this whole time, the privateer aspect has been a bit diminished somewhat. There's Duma. There's the two Tamias, and Kubica's suddenly started to fall back, having been 13th early on.
To Marco, because he was in 13th. He was in the points. He was doing well. And now he's back here on the back row.
I'm trying to think of it. This is it. This is they have been totally outplayed, except for one of the 3Ms. So there's Wickens. Bianchi in the mid-pack somewhere. Mind you, we have to call it a dead rubber, I think, because Aiello's won the race. It's just what happens for some level of penalty there, while Gasho could be sparing Renault's blushes if the book gets thrown at Aiello. Renault will still get at least a win in the bargain if Gasho, and it's
he's got him.
This is
hook, line, sinker, done. Obviously, he got himself into 3rd whilst we were looking at the rest of the field. So he's got himself around Thompson and Ekstrom handedly, and then there he goes past Schneider. So we are once again looking at a Renault 1-2. And
the only thing stopping this from being a washout now is what's going to happen off track. Still waiting for a response there. I think this one's going to be taken very seriously by the stewards later on, because, well, if they were going to do anything, they would have done it by now, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think the fact that it says after the round means they're going to take their time over it. So whatever happens in this race happens.
After the round.
Yes, whatever happens in race 2 happens, and then we will know in between race 2 here and race 1 of round 3, which is at Dragon Trail.
Thompson's surprisingly, well, unless it's the camera work, is that doesn't look very quick, all things considered, even though he's in 5th and no potential threat. I wonder, maybe I'm seeing this, I'm not seeing other cars against it, so it doesn't look as quick perhaps, but it just looks surprisingly slow given the circumstances.
I mean, potentially. I mean, there's also the thing of, looking slow and being tidy ends up being fast.
Probably, yeah.
But he
I'm
has
just
got the track to himself. He has completely fallen off the back of Ekstrom. I don't know if Gasho had a hand in that somewhere.
Yeah, that last lap is 2 seconds off his previous and 3 seconds off his fastest.
Yeah, maybe he had a
Gasho
wiggle somewhere.
10 seconds slower than Gasho's fastest lap, who is on the boil and is wanting. Yeah, it's the final lap, so there's no way that if Aiello's got the same weaponry here, that Aiello's going to give up that lead. It's going to be a good day for Renault nonetheless, and I wonder if any political pressure was put on here, because I really think something should have been done during this race. And I'm assuming that from look on some of the team bosses down in the garage, they're not happy with it either. This could be a very tense race too coming up if that car is going to be in, well, if it's on P10, it's been counted as the win. When, if that was deliberate, why not hit it harder? But, well, that's the decisions. Soured, well, the race was anticlimactic from that incident, and that echo, how long that echo will last, we'll never know. Here's on board with Wittmann. Suarez still in front, playing defensive, and I reckon, unless you're fighting for minor points positions, that, well, maybe they're all holding back for race 2 now, given the circumstances. Sun's back out again though. It was always going to be happening. It's just a reef to end the race with the sun shining. Volkswagen's effort a bit more appreciated. They weren't that consistent in season 3, if I remember correctly, but a sizable turnaround for the Renault team after a poor season 3. But not a nice way to end it. I'm sure Aiello would be very happy with the win. I'm sure the Renault boss would be very happy with his 1-2. But at what potential cost? I mean, there was almost a threat there. The wobble on, the slide on from Aiello. Is the slide on for Gashup? No, he's managed to behave himself with those tyres. And, well, what more can we say? That Renault have won again. And we shall just have to wait for the next round to see what the actual race result will be. But for the time being, they'll be celebrating like well, maybe they have got the 1-2. Maybe Schneider will still be third. But when we get to Croatia after the next race, we shall find out what the news actually is. Very good result for Ekstrom. Very good result for Volvo. Despite the other car should still be in a better position, should be up close with his teammate, but Thompson's got that slot there. Jamie Webber, I'm sure the locals will be cheering that, but it's not really any change there for the Australian, except the competitor that was alongside him did fall further back. There's the best privateer, Bianchi across the line in 12th, Fisichella 15th, as the rest of them come across the line there. Yeah, well, all we can say is that was a race. However, good, if it was good for you, that's your perspective on it. It's hard to be neutral when the race was won by effectively someone that I think shouldn't have won it. But that's my opinion on that, and we shall just have to wait. Swinny, what did you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, given obviously the incident soured things a bit, but we still saw some good racing up and down the field there. Obviously, the battle between Suarez and the rear-wheel drive cars was entertaining. We will, as it stands right now, Aiello has won this race. It is a Renault 1-2. Aiello will start 10th on the grid for race 2. Whether that is carried over in the championship points is the bigger question, and we will have that answer by round 3 at Dragon Trail.
So as the team go off to have their arguments with the at least the officials on this, or any bad blood towards Renault, we shall have to see at the end of that particular break, and when the dust settles, race 2 will commence. So it's going to be nicely on the boil for race 2, and it's going to be a very interesting one at that. On behalf of Michael Swillett, then, I've been Major Michael Reese, and we shall see you for race 2. Good racing, everyone.